Bastards! Well, today I want to talk about home preparedness for pandemic situations. Uh, I will take the mask off in the next spray because it's hard to drink with this one. Oh, you bastards! Stewards! So here I'm back without the whole mask thing. What did I just wear? Uh, Well, what I wore here on the beginning of the video is an EDC, CBRN suit. It stands for chemical, biological, radiological, and chemical nuclear threats. So this thing, if it works against nuclear particles, it also helps against biological threats. So today I want to talk about, like I said, pandemic preparedness at your home. Which is a very topical topic, if I can say. So let's get on with it. Why would one wear a suit like this? It's probably clear that it's difficult to wear this outside in just public in everyday life. What are situations you can use a CBRN suit for? Well, for in case when somebody is in quarantine or so sick that you have to help them. Imagine you have one of your kids or your partner or a friend or a family member is fallen sick to the virus. Let's say COVID, like now. The hospitals are full, or it's not severe enough to take care of the person, to take him into the hospital because rooms are limited. So what you can do is prepare a quarantine space in your home to help that person. When you go in and out of the room, you can wear one of these suits to nurture that person without getting yourself infected and even interact with the person. Um, what I want to say is, when you're done with the suit, you got to disinfect it. You can do it with chemicals, UV light, let it sit outside of the sun after using it, so all the bacteria get disinfected by the sun rays and UV light. Or you just wash it off with warm soapy water. Yep, that's why one would wear one of these suits, unless it's a threat, like when it's a pandemic that is so contagious and dangerous. Like imagine something like Ebola, or like some preppers would fantasize about a zombie situation. In that case, yes, the suit you can wear outside, but it's mainly to help other people and getting into dangerous areas, like when you have to nurse multiple people at once who are sick in quarantine rooms. You can wear one of these suits, and you have to know how to use it, how to clean it, how to disinfect it, how to take it on and off on the proper way to not get infected by accident. Next to the suit I just showed, you have one of those. I know it looks a bit big, but like when you see in the movies about pandemics, or or news of the CDC, or when there has been an anthrax attack, you always see guys in. I will show this in another video perhaps, how you put this on, but it's like one of those suits with a big plastic cover around the head that goes along your whole body and has a ventilator in it to breathe and to filter the air that goes in. So you can use this, which is much cheaper than one of these military CBRN suits. So the choice is yours, depends on how you want to use it, on the condition you know how to use it. So this is a so-called gas suit, very handy, doesn't cost much. So next thing, gas masks. Like I just showed you, If you buy one of these gas masks for CBN or pandemic purposes, I would always advise to take new military ones, because many people, they buy one of those discarded gas masks they sell in army dumps or those surplus stores. But you have to be very carefully when buying one of these, because the rubber can be melted or been degraded. The filters can be full. The respirator can leak in one or both directions, which you do not really want. It must fit on your head, and also important, you got to have backup filters, because when these are full, you don't want to change one or be without one when you're in a room full of contagious people. So if you buy a gas mask, don't forget to buy spare filters. Yep, that's a thing. Always keep mask just like we use during the COVID pandemic to cover your face. It can help to spread reduce the chance to get infected, but I always say the main thing of a mask is to protect other people, because it's no use when nobody wears a mask and you're the only one who wears it, because it's you breathe in the contained oxygen air. So it's just to protect other people, especially these masks. So if everyone wears a mask, you reduce the chance of infection for everyone greatly. But if there's one douchebag who doesn't want to wear a mask, it will also bring you in danger even if you wear one. It reduces the risk, I can assure you that, but it's not 100%. Talking about which, there are several types of masks. You have these dust cover masks. These fit all around the body, which reduce the chance to get contagious particles inside of your system. But I must say it's not 100% either. You have one of those N95 masks with a respirator, with a filter on it. Those are good, but you have to take in mind, with those you protect yourself, but not others, because you still push out your air through the ventil when you wear one of those N95 masks. So be very inform yourself about the proper use of mask. How do professionals use them? Medical, military, in other professions where they use these. What is the best way? So learn and use it correctly, and you will save not only yourself but other people too. And that's what's very important. Right. Next, glasses, safety glasses. You can use one of those glasses that seal all of everything, but after a while they will dampen. They protect more, yes, but they will quickly damp when you are at work or doing something physical. But when you just wear this with a mask, you have even more chance to protect yourself, because that point I didn't make it with the mask. When you wear the mask with the glasses, you don't breathe in you have less risk to breathe in the particles, but also get it into your eye, because your eyes are also a way to get infected. Like, you hear people who always have to go to the doctor after somebody spit in their face. That's the reason why, because diseases, infections, even go through the eyes. Some, not all, but just to be sure, to reduce the chance. With what I should start? Also important, a thermometer. Just like, test yourself every morning, during the midday, during the evening, just to see that your temperature, body temperature, has not been risen, that you don't have a fever. Always a good indicator, so you know very fast when you get sick. It's a good indicator, so you don't go to your work, your family, your friends, your partner, and infect them. So take regularly your temperature with this thermometer. Very important. Cheers. Next, disinfectants. You can use one of those hand disinfectants or those pure alcohol if you have those. Doesn't matter what. Disinfect your hands regularly in case of a pandemic. I always would do it before I would put a foot inside of my home. I would disinfect my hands because I don't want to touch everything that might be infected. So those are very important to keep in your preparedness kit. I would say water purification tablets, because when the disease or the infection get transmitted is waterborne, you don't want to drink public water, or it's very dangerous to do that. So keep purification tablets just to be sure. Or even when you don't trust the water supply, you can still use rainwater or something to wash yourself and such. So purification tablets important, which goes together with bleach to make everything clean, everything that possibly could be touched by someone who's contagious or from the outside. Bleach the area, kill bacteria, viruses, other pathogens. It's for a very cheap way to kill pathogens. So just household bleach, which goes together with pool shock tablets. In case you don't have bleach, or the bleach has gone expired, which can happen, but these will stay good for a long time. These are pool shock tablets. They are dry blocks you can put in water, has the same effect as bleach. So these just keep longer, just in case you don't have to go to the store and buy bleach. Talking about what should we take now? Oh, there's so much. I will also would advise a book, instruction book, manual about pandemics. This is the one I used. It says a lot of information by professionals about several kind of diseases, how diseases work, viruses, bacteria, fungus, parasites, all these things that could, everything that could spread in a society. The procedures to protect yourself in case of an infection, and such. So I would read on your information, because knowledge is power, and knowing your enemy is a great step ahead, like Sun Tzu probably would have said, if I'm correct. So next thing, aspirin or Nurofen or ibuprofen. These can be lower your fever in case your fever get too high. In case of headaches, in case you're infected. So it's always handy to keep a box of these at your home in your personal medical kit, just to get the effects of the illness less, so you're more productive and take better decisions. Paper towels, when you have to sneeze, to wipe your nose, or cough, you can use these and throw it away. You still have to disinfect your hands, but there's less chance to spread it, like when you have an handkerchief and you put it in your bag, in your pocket, take it back out. Could be very dangerous, but if you order a box of these, it will last a long time. And we all know when we got the flu how much tissues we can use, which rhymes now that I think of it. So gloves, like the gloves I wear here now, these were not the gloves I wore when I had the suit on. These are the latex gloves, but it can be very useful to use these when you have to handle patients, contagious areas, or where you don't have your hand gel or disinfectants on hand, or in the place where you work at hand. So take it when you're done to touch something. Take it off in the correct way, without touching each other's hands with a surface that might be infected. So always buy a box of these latex gloves, very handy in a pandemic. You also have these, when those are too expensive, you can have one of those disposable gloves, like you use for tanking your car. These are costless, are smaller, and they are just easier to take on and off for quick things. So you don't have to always to use an expensive latex glove, in case you don't want to overdo it when you have to change too much on a day. These are much cheaper and yet effective if you use them correctly. Next. These were the gloves I used when wearing the CBRN suit. These are thick gloves made of rubber. These are graded for CBRN use. I must admit, I prefer the latex ones because, in case of a pandemic, at least, because these are I can grip fine with my fingers. With this thick rubber, this is for even nuclear use. So it's much better to use one of these to grip things. Use your phone, dial something, use a computer. So, but they still can be handy in case when there is something you have to pick up things that are contagious but dangerous for puncturing, like rough items like rocks, or in case when you have to help a patient who might be aggressive. Like, people can be aggressive, they can bite, scratch, or puncture your gloves while you're just trying to help them. Maybe they are ailing from a fever or something, or they're just in a blind panic. Thick gloves can be useful in that case. These won't puncture easily. So, next. Plastic bags. You can use trash can bags, but I prefer, how do you say it? Bags that you can see through. Why? Because when you use your tissues, or you have clothing, or handkerchief towels that are contain, how do you say that? Infected or contagious, you can put those in, and you can knot it off, and it will not be a danger anymore, and you can dispose of it later on a safer, when there is a safer way or time. So you can use that. Always handy to have one of these rolls full of plastic bags. In case of a bacterial disease, you can use a filter, even a life straw like this. Just remember, these are 89% bacteria killing, so not viruses or other of those heavy containments. So, but can be handy when you don't trust the local water supply, and you can still have some drinking water. Use this on rainwater or water that you collected. Be very careful that birds and other animals don't have their feces containing in the water. So, water filter for purification, very handy. You can use one of those. We'll talk about these here. In my videos about water sources, I talked about the Berkey water filter. These are just, I showed it in those videos. These are the filters that can filter almost anything, even viruses, all metals, even nuclear particles. You look in my video of water sources, and you see the whole Berkey filter. But these are my reserve filters for that. These can make for 11 years worth of clean water with 2 of these filters. So, a Berkey filter, I would very much advise to take one of those. I wish I would get sponsored by this, but hopefully someday a man can dream. Next, tape, and I would say isolation tape. Why? You can put it when there is a quarantine room. You can use the plastic bags, tarps, or something else to deck off the windows or other places that can get wind or oxygen through, but part of the droplets and particles not out. So you want to protect people outside of the quarantine room, you can get tape off spots around the door, doorknobs, or windows, but yet still make clear that be sure that the patient still can breathe air, especially from outside. When the holes are on the inside that can penetrate through the living quarters of the people who are not infected, you can tape this off with for their safety and your safety. You can also put this around your glove and your jacket. In this case, the CBRN jacket, to even close it off even more when you have something so contagious that can even go through this little space. So, electric tape, never always a good option, and useful in many repairs. Like you saw in the video about personal hygiene, a big box of hand cleaner just to scrub it off. Just a cheap alternative. What do we have now? Vinegar. There were in the 17th century some places in Europe that used vinegar for cleaning stuff, like when they had shops, and when the people in the shops had to pay money, they would first put the money in a bucket full of vinegar, so it get disinfected. You can apply the same logic to things you want to disinfect, like coins or something else. Nothing electric, of course, or something that doesn't need to be wet, but it's a good alternative to scrub it if you don't have bleach or something else. You can wash yourself in it, but it will burn, to be honest. But when times are hard and you don't have the right tools, you have got to improvise. So it's a good alternative. Next, one of those sprays to disinfect. When you just have a surface area, you can just spray it on it, or something like in your car, your bike, some objects you cannot get too wet, but you still need to disinfect it. You can do a light spray on it, let it work in, and wipe it off without the risk of too much moisture. So, disinfected spray. We have here. Oh. This is one of those protective suits they use with chemical jobs where they use chemicals, painters, and others. These are especially made for a classic expert Cat 3 protection level. These are one use, and then you have to throw them away. So you can buy a load of these, perhaps, but to be honest, it's not much use if you have permanent suits that you can disinfect every time without degrading the material to protect yourself. Just in case, and for other works like paint jobs or repairs at home, of removing asbestos from a roof or something. So, just an idea to put in your protective. What I want to suggest is when there is a pandemic, or you have rumors of a pandemics or something else, always have at least 3 weeks worth of food and water. Why? Because we saw it in the beginning of the COVID pandemic with the first lockdowns. People went nuts in the stores. Shelves were almost empty. And imagine that was still in the period where trucks were still driving. So the supermarkets were still getting supplied every day. Imagine when that not happening. I can guarantee you in 3 days, even the stock in the stores will be completely dried up. And people will buy too much or something else. You cannot rely on the stores in case of such emergencies where you cannot leave your house. So, that's why I always have at least 3 weeks of water. This is much more, but you can get the gist. These always have at least 4 gallons of water for each person every day for 3 weeks. That's what I suggest. If you have less, I would always say for 3 weeks, some water for every day per person. And food. Food is very important also, because you don't want to go outside for for the store and get a risk to get infected while you're standing in line, or when people like those idiots who don't wear the mask correctly make the chance harder to get infected. They make the chance bigger to get infected. Um, just for food, just take the regular stuff, things you can eat directly, like snacks or tin food, things you can cook like rice. You can see rice, beans, coffee, uh, some canned goods, honey, all the good stuff, some oil to cook it. And that's another thing. In case the electricity gets, you get a blackout for some reason, always foresee another alternative to get to cook your food and your water, like a little gas light for camping trips or something else, or you can make a little fire in your backyard. And always handy. Um, yeah, that's about it. I also would suggest in a pandemic options for relaxing. Like have some books in house, see that you have internet or something, or some games you can play with your housemates, so you don't have to leave your house to not get crazy, because people who get too long in isolation, especially people who are alone or with only their direct family members, they can go a little bit crazy at sometimes. So have something to entertain you, or and to keep in contact with other people, uh, like internet or something else, phones, even with neighbors, like walkie-talkies. You can still talk to each other without the risk of infecting one another. If they need help, they can still contact you. Like when they cannot go to the hospital and they don't know what to do, you can still try to help them in this, and come at their house fully protected with the gear to help them, or give them food in case the stores are empty and they don't have the food. Uh, I will say this is my pre-last point. Big no wait, scrap that. This is a more gory thought, but this is a body bag. I know it might sound a little bit grim, but during pandemic people die, and like I said, when the hospitals are overrun with patients, you cannot always go there. Perhaps there is chaos because people go nuts because they've been too long in isolation, or something else, like you cannot go to the morgue, the doctor. People who take care of when some bad things happen, you have to do it sometimes yourself. So when you have when one of your family members or neighbors or people around you decease, you can put them in a body bag uh, till the situation gets a little bit calmer or get again functional. Not a pretty thought, but I try to think of everything, even the bad things I don't want to think about. I would hate it to one day open this plastic and get the body bag out of it, but it's a necessarily part of preparedness. Always expect the worst. Uh, I think that's about coverage for the most personal preparedness, protection for home preparedness in a pandemic. I will show you two more points after I'm done ranting with this, and that's the EDC Pandemic die holster, which I used during my time during COVID when I still had to go to work, even doing more hours than usually, so I had more risk to be exposed, and when I went to the stores. And after that, I will show you my UV my UV disinfector, where I put my stuff that I brought from outside inside to disinfect in a non-moist way. So, by the power of editing, you will now see my pandemic EDC tie holster. So, it is my EDC kit everyday carry for pandemics. It may look a little bit weird, but I can assure you it can be handy during pandemic situation, especially in early stages where it's not yet clear how the virus works, how it's transmitted, the severity and such. So in the beginning, you can never go, I would say, go too far in case of your own safety and of others. So what I done especially in the beginning of the pandemic is have this leg holster as my EDC Pandemic Kit. Why? First of all, it contains everything I need during my day, so I don't have to take everything, like I get particles of the virus on my hands, and I don't have to take everything, my cell phone, a pen, handkerchief, mask, and I don't have to put it in my pocket, because when you carry the virus in your pocket and you're at home and by some chance you take it back out, you have a chance to infect other family members of your family, your partner, your children, or something else. So try to stay out of your pockets with stuff. So that's where this thing comes in. First of all, I always would wear my mask. If I don't use it, I hang it on a carabiner, I think it's the name. So in case when I need it, I can just clip it off and put it on without ever touching the inside of the mask, which otherwise would risk more chance to get the virus on the mask on the inside and breathe it in and get infected. So when I take it off on the outside. I never let anything near, not my hands or anything else, touch the inside of the mask. So I close it and I just clip it on and let it rest. Yeah, so when you're entering a space where suddenly a lot of people are, like when you just walk down the street and there is a group of people together and you have to pass them, that can be dangerous, even if you're in open air. So when I see a lot of people, or I must go into a building or a room with a lot of people, I just can take, like you can see, the mask without touching any of the inside, put it on, I'm safe, our people are safe. So that's a good way to not contract the virus. You don't have to worry much about, it's even better when you put it outside, because when you're walking down the footwalk, the sun will reach your mask. So sun rays will disinfect very slowly, of course, but they kind of reduce the risk that the virus can grow on your mask or stay on it for a prolonged time, because the sun rays, like we know, kills bacteria when in prolonged use. So that's why I always keep it in. Always forward close, so the inside never touches the outside. And so when somebody for one reason spits or coughs or sneezes, the most things don't get directly on your insides when it's closed. So that's a good tip to use in the beginning of a pandemic. Second reason I use this thing is because I don't want anything, like I said, in my pockets so that I can infect. So what do I use mostly? Goggles can go together with the mask for when the virus gets transmitted by droplets. Even in with the coronavirus, they think 10% of the people get infected by contact through the eyes. So you don't want droplets, sneezing, coughs, even when you wear a mask, not on your eyes, in your eyeballs. Or when other things like blood droplets in a high intensity situation, like you don't want to get infected that way. So in the beginning of a pandemic, wear goggles that will protect your eyes against droplets. Next, a pen. We all use pens during the day. We don't want, especially in the pandemic, not to lend a pen from somebody who is might infected. So I always keep a pen. Also, so I don't have to put it in a pocket or get it out of my bag or my backpack or something. So keep always a pen in your pandemic EDC. Just a multi-tool, just for the arrays of tools you can use this for. Next, most important to my opinion in the EDC pandemic, hand gel for disinfecting the hands. Every time you go into a building, there should be something to disinfect your hands, but sometimes it's empty, sometimes it's not there, sometimes it's broken. So like those automatic machines that don't work, you're standing there. Probably your hands infected. So if you want to regularly disinfect your hands, always keep a bottle of disinfectant in your EDC bag. You can just take it out, put it on, put it back in, clean your hands, and you can do whatever. In case you have to touch your face or something, or if you have an itch, you can quickly do this thing or use another tool. So, EDC Pandemic. Next, my wallet. I have a. Oh, it's kind of slippery today. It's because of the banknotes. I always use my wallet on a clip, so it has some cash, my identity card, my bank card, and other cards I might need, and I can just clip it on, just like that, very quickly out, and I don't have to put it in my pocket. Just beware that thieves or robbers don't notice it, so that's why I use the clip thing, because it's less visible than a real wallet that would spring in somebody's eyes with bad intentions. So, wallet, and of course the cell phone. When you have to make a call with a cell phone, you don't have to put it in your pocket. Take it in, take it out. Very important, when you take it out, don't put it against your mouth to talk, because it might have some particles on it. You don't want to breathe them in. Keep it always from a distance when you're calling. The phones are sensitive enough to talk from a distance. Especially with those iPhone things they use, because people are talking like this these days. That's something I see. So take everything in, take everything out without putting it in your pockets and have the risk to bring it into your house. I want to have another point about the clip. Especially many people will find this odd or even exaggerated, but a gas mask. On the gas mask I have put a strip with a carabiner hook on it. Just I can put it on just like that and carrying it through my day. Always take care that the inside is not exposed to the outside, so people won't sneeze, cough, or droplets get on the inside of the mask. Very important. You can easily walk around with it. People will give you eyes. I can assure you that, but it's better safe than be ashamed, in my opinion. In the beginning of the pandemic, I used this thing on my work when I go into the shops, because the thing is, the coronavirus, it spreads, how do I say this? Not all people wore their mask correctly. You have, if I can show you, you have a lot of these people who wear diaper chins. They wear it like this, with their nose still exposed, coughing, sneezing, it all around, breathing, or even just like on their chin. I've seen tons and tons of people doing this, and it annoyed me. And it's just that carelessness of people. I don't understand, and that's why I cannot take any risk, especially in the beginning of the pandemic, when we didn't know yet how it got spread, in what stages, or how exactly. So that's why in the beginning I wore this, especially when I go in at work, when I have to work inside of a small room with a lot of other people. I just could take the mask, put it on.
And as you can probably hear, communication is a little bit tougher, but at least I'm safe. As some asshole doesn't wear his mask correctly, at least I don't get infected. So
You can just take it off quickly like that, Like you can also another advantage is you can take it off without touching the inside, unlike the mask, where you can probably by accident touch the inside. With this, I can just take it by the filter, take it off, and just put it back on the clip I wear on my belt. And that's much more safer, especially in a pandemic, especially in the early stages where it's not clear how deadly or infectious the virus is. I know when you wear this, people will laugh, but like I said, don't let them discourage you from protecting yourself. Another thing I wanted to prove with wearing this in public is I want to help other people who want to protect themselves, because a lot of people they were sometimes afraid to even wear the regular mask because they think they didn't look good, or they were afraid what others would think, or they would think, oh, he's one of those safety nuts. It's something you have to go. Don't let people get to you. I want to say, I done it to inspire other people to protect them and to let them know it can be severe. So that's the thing about the EDC diet holster. Oh, one more important thing. When I get home from work, I got home. I don't want to take the disease inside. I will show you in a minute my UV light disinfector. But if you just want to leave with it and take it home with you, you can leave it at your, like here in my what's the English word for it? My porch. I can take everything off, put it on a table, especially the tie holster. I just have to click it off and I can put it on the table. When I leave, I can put it back on without having the risk to take all these things I took in public inside. I would recommend to put the things you still gonna use inside, like the cell phone and the wallet. Take it inside, put it in a UV light or disinfect it so you can still use it inside. Let it be rest like 30 minutes under a UV light to disinfect it and use it inside. So that's my take on the EDC Pandemic Kit. We'll now go to the UV disinfector. So that is my UV disinfector. It works with UV lights, and this model is something they use in barber shops to disinfect the tools without making it wet or putting products or chemicals on it. So you can also, if you want something stronger, you can use one of those medical UV disinfectors they use in like surgeons, doctor practices, and other medical professions. So how does it work? You just take this out where you put everything in. You put everything in, so it's always exposed. The mask, glass, wallet, and my mask. The mask, you can put it open just to be sure. So everything is now spread open, so the light will reach every place. You put it back in, and then wait. If you can see, oh, it's because it's not full in yet. Like you can see, I put the UV light back on. It's above and underneath the UV lights will disinfect. You can put it in for like 30 minutes or, to be sure, 45 minutes to disinfect everything without the use of water, chemicals, soap, and such. So while you go inside, you can let these things disinfect. So I'm very happy I bought this in the beginning of the pandemic, because it was very difficult to get a hand on because of the transport and how do you say it, the transport of goods situation that was going on because of COVID. So this is the UV disinfector, very handy to keep in your home, not only for pandemics, also for just epidemics or like flu season, if you want to be sure about that. So going to the next. So you probably saw the UV disinfector and the tie holster. I hope you enjoyed this video, learned something from it. Perhaps it gave you some ideas about to deal with a pandemic. You can go overboard with it, or you can. It's better to go overboard with it than to be underprepared, in my opinion. So, thank you for watching. Leave a comment. Try if I forgot something. Leave a comment with ideas or share an idea. I want to learn. Other people want to learn. We all learn. Knowledge is power. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.